book, about 100 pages of physics, most of it on entanglement, because the magicians want to believe that you can actually control the ether. And the guy who wrote the best analysis, Robert Anton Wilson, in the 70s, where he went through all the philosophical implications of what the experiments were saying. So in the aspect, you would have supraluminum, because what aspect did is he separated beyond the cone of light and showed the correlations. Now, mind you, we talk about statistics, so it's hard to interpret, but he showed the correlations supraluminal. So in this picture, or in this ontology, you would prove that something propagates faster than light. And in the condensed matter theory, it's not entirely stupid, because the light would be the transverse, so twist, and it has one speed in condensed matter, but the longitudinal, like sound waves are longitudinal as opposed to twist. The sound waves propagate at sometimes 100 times the speed of the transverse waves in most material we know. So this material around us would be something completely different, and its speed would be very different. Personally, I don't believe in that, but that would be the interpretation. Another one gets very crazy. One of my mentors believed in reversal of time, so that, and most of the experiments right now go in that direction, very, very crazy, where basically the things know where they go before they get there. A rational interpretation would be some echolocation, but then echolocation via supraluminal means, meaning the ether. And the third one, which I believe, because that's what I see in the Walker simulations, is that when you let many walkers, you have a field, and it looks like a Rorschach blot. It doesn't make sense. Shapes that
like noise.
It looks like noise, but sort of structured noise.
Yeah.
And the particles bounce on that noise. And so when I see in simulations, I mean, I have recordings, I can give them to you for the talks, is that the particles, if you put two particles, for example, they start smelling each other almost in the field. And then they get in Ouroboros configuration, the snake that bites. So it gets very symmetric. And then if one gets off, the other one immediately gets off as well. So they are entangled, but there's no communication from this particle to that particle. There's communication via the substrate field that has those symmetries. And so they both do the same thing, but the force remains local. Yeah, the effect looks global, as if you had magical communication, but in fact what you have is a local field that guides those things that way. Yeah, that react. And so the third option, which is the one I pursue ontologically through these experiments to prove it via walkers and entanglement, would be the presence of this unifying field, the ether of the magicians, which CERN, when they talk about the vacuum, they laugh, right? The vacuum has properties. How interesting. Well, how can nothing have anything, right? So the vacuum has properties, and in that third option, Robert Anton Wilson characterizes it as a Jungian world. A world of acausal synchronicities. They are synchronized locally, but you do not have causality. So acausal synchronicity. So things appear causally connected, as if we move together, but in fact all we do is, as we interact now, we create a common understanding, a common image, a common word. So we act independently in the future, but because we interacted now, we keep that path. So in 4 days, we will have synchronicities up the wazoo. I asked actually that everybody records their synchronicities that they observe, and we get all the list of synchronicities at the end. We keep them private, or we tell them to each other. And those acausal Jungian synchronicities become the manifest reality. And the photons, and we don't know what the photons are. We don't know what makes photons. We don't know we think they're only circularly polarized. The experiment I do tries to poke at this ontology. Like, what happens if we believe that they're only synchronized? And basically, entanglement remains the central puzzle of quantum mechanics, and also the central promise of the magicians. that your brain can interact with the ether and impart a force in trance. And the point of trance and most magical ritual is that to connect to the waves are very faint. The waves he studies and I study, those standing waves, very, very small waves. And if you observe, very noisy, gets very noisy, so you don't see the quantum. But if you let the waves, then your brain, if you stop thinking, then
it's also meditation.
Meditation.
So it's like that.
Yeah, meditation works like that. And you can either excite the brain through sex, drugs, rock and roll, so that you don't think and you just feel, and then supposedly the subconscious somewhere in the brain connects to the ether waves. Or you go inhibition, meditation, again tantric sex would be inhibition too, breathing, just calm meditation as opposed to excited meditation.
Mantra stuff, this kind of
Mantra,
special words.
yes.
Personalized words.
Yes, personalized words. The point in the personalized words is you stop thinking.